Well, it's a good morning from me, and it's a good morning from him. But there we go. Hello, everybody. Welcome to my mortgage live stream, Paul Archer's mortgage live stream. Hope everybody's well. Didn't get too hot over the weekend, of course, but it did vary from around the country as to where it was warm and hot. But it was really hot here at the weekend, which was lovely. I thoroughly enjoy it. Shelley just melts in it, and most people do. So anyway, enough of that. Let's talk about mortgages and the mortgage market and give you an update. Got some exciting stuff for you this week, actually, and next week. We're continuing the article on to next week too. But I hope you're well. Hope you're good. Hope you've had a holiday, or you're taking life a bit easy at the moment, or your mortgage business is rocking, one or the other. Now, one thing actually that disturbs me continuously, and we're talking today about handling the downturn. Now, everyone's talking about it. It's the elephant in the room. You can't get away from it. Even Andrew Bailey, bless his little cotton socks, blurted out last week that we're in for the biggest recession since the 90s and the crash. And hold on to your seatbelts, everybody. We're going for a ride. The guy just gave us problems. It reminds me of that layer cake scene. Layer cake, great film, when the gangster geezer, right there, geezer, says, "Oh, don't give me problems. I want solutions." That's the point. People are happy to give you problems. They're happy to tell you that we're going into a downturn, inflation at 13%, fuel prices, and it's all terrible. Don't get me wrong, but sometimes we actually need solutions, and I'm going to give you some solutions today. And one thing that hit me actually this morning when I opened up my email, as we all do when we have a cup of tea, I saw the Mortgage Introducer magazine. Now, I get all these emails from, your mortgage strategy, your mortgage introducer, bridging finance experts. I get 5 or 6 of these. FT Advisor. They keep you up to speed, don't they? They keep you up to date, which is great. But they're all now starting to fight for your eyeballs. I love that, don't you? Fighting for your eyeballs. Let's go online. You're in there. Shows that we're real. And they do that by startling you. And it's about media consumption. And the word this morning from Mortgage Introducer that did make me laugh. He said, "Breaking news." I love that day. UK house prices down. Is this the start of the market slowdown? I mean, that's just irresponsible. Sorry, it is. It's wrong. And then the article goes on to say, a few experts talk about it. And the pure fact is, in August, the housing market has always been quiet. Obviously, we had the stamp duty issue a couple of years ago, which subsidized the market. But in August, the mortgage market, the housing market especially, has always been quiet, and ever since time immemorial. And house prices tend to dip a bit because if people want to sell in August, they have to put it keenly priced, etc. And that's all there was to it. But the Mortgage Introducer magazine made it sound like we were going to die. There was going to be earthquake and locust infestation. The moral there is to reduce your media intake. Anyway, let's get on to the topic of handling the downturn, what we should be doing as mortgage advisors to deal with the downturn, which is coming. I don't think it'll be tremendously terrible. I don't think the GDP will fall dramatically. I don't think we're going to have mass unemployment. I think there'll be a small, short recession. The US is going to bring us out of it fairly quickly. But we do have gas problems here in this UK. US, by the way, are self-sufficient in gas and oil. Not a lot of people know that, so they're not actually been affected by gas prices as such. Obviously, world prices affect them, but they can actually stock their own gas. They got fracking. They decided to go ahead and do it. Let's have a look at what we need to do in a downturn then as mortgage advisors, mortgage brokers. And I've got 8 strategies for you, which, you might like them all, you might not like any of them, I don't mind, but they will work for you. And they're based upon my experience of working under 4 or 5 recessions. I suppose you could call the pandemic was a recession, wasn't it? Not really, because it was subsidized by the government through furlough. And I know what you need to do. So I'm going to give you 8 of these. I'll give you 4 this week and 4 next week as well. So let's get on to the first 4, shall we? But I'm going to head over to that whiteboard because that's where I'm going to do my descriptions for you. So give me a moment. And I just press the button and head over to the whiteboard. And hi, everybody. Welcome to my session on the advisor downturn and the strategies that you need to be adopting to not only survive the downturn, but thrive as well. That's a bit of a corny, isn't it? Survive and thrive, all that stuff. I'll be a motivational speaker next, and they only work for about 5 minutes, and you lose the motivation. Anyway, let's get on to this topic. So let me write up for you then my title. We're talking about advisors. Now, I'm predominantly looking at these at mortgage advisors, mortgage brokers, because that's the marketplace that I know and love, because it's financial advisors as well. And I'm looking at the phrase downturn, which is an American phrase, really. We use the word recession. It sounds terribly deep and gloomy, doesn't it? And I want to give you 8 strategies in total. I'm going to give you 4 today. Now, the first strategy for you, just to lay it down to you, is you need to be onto your client bank like a rash. So let's put this one for you. So we're talking here about client bank is the subject. You need to be on your client bank like a rash, because over the last few years, you may not have nurtured your client bank. You might have been so darn busy with new mortgages, you might not have got around to it. And I get that. But you now need to think about what your value of your business is. And your business is valued not by anything else, but by your clients. And what you want to be doing is a few things. You want to be thinking about the direct debits, or DDs, as I call them, direct debits. You want to be preserving direct debits, particularly if you sold protection and other things to your clients. So you need to be contacting them, talking to them about the products you sold and the value you provide. Come on to that in a second. How do you do that? Well, I've seen a number of mortgage brokers on LinkedIn now offering mortgage MOTs. Yeah, get a mortgage MOT. Have a quick look at your affordability, have a look at interest rates, see what they're charging now, have a look at affordability because it's changed with the Bank of England changing stress rates. And a good old mortgage MOT is a lovely way of getting a reason to contact your customer to have a meeting with them as well. Now, there's nothing to stop you talking to your customers and having a little chat about budgets. You know, you are pretty good at this sort of thing. You know, affordability is what we do well. Have a chat about budgets. You know, maybe help them, because they're worried about 2 things, customers, aren't they? They're worried about the interest rates going up, and they're worried about the cost of living crisis with the gas bills, the energy cap. I mean, I can't think of anybody who runs a house that isn't worried about that right now. So they're concerned. So if you contact them with a little chat about how you can help them budget, maybe do a cost of living MOT. So not only a mortgage MOT, but a cost of living MOT, because you are skilled in that area. Remember, you are trained to do affordability. You can work out what people can afford and what they can't afford. So that would be a useful reason to contact your customer. Now, whilst you're chatting to them, have a think about upselling as well, or cross-selling, call it what you like. Have a think about the protection side of things. Come on to that later for you. But while you're chatting to them, have a look at what kind of protection they had. Now, you may have sold them protection, you may not have done. And you might want to take a look at their protection package that they've got, and maybe have a little look at this. Maybe save them a bob or 2. If you don't know what a bob is, by the way, it's not a haircut. It's a shilling, which, of course, you may not know what a shilling is either, but it's 10p. Anyway, it's a phrase. You might be able to save some money. Now, you might be able to save them some money in 2 ways on the protection side, because you may want to rebroke them. In other words, if they've got some life assurance or income protection, you might want to rebroke to look at a different product. Now, be careful of rebroking, of course, because people's health changes. You might get a different rebroking situation. So you be careful of that. But you see, there's 2 things have changed in the protection market that not a lot of people know about. The first one is that back in the beginning of 2022, product providers were told by the FCA to stop giving new customers better deals than existing customers, which was terrible what they were doing. Anyway, as a result of that, existing customers and new customers are getting like really good deals. So you might be able to find that if you rebroke, they might get a slightly better deal than what they had, because although they're an existing customer now, they might have been an existing customer for 5-10 years, where they weren't getting very good renewals on their buildings insurance and stuff. So, you know, they might be up here on their price, whereas, you know, rebroking them might bring it right down. So that's one thing to think about. The second thing to think about is that if your customer or client, we prefer to call them clients, don't we, is connected to some kind of limited company, and there's quite a lot of people that are, you might want to look at relevant life insurance. In other words, buying the product through the company to offset tax. Jolly useful, brings premium down, worth a conversation to any of your clients that are limited company directors. I would anyway, but you might want to gen up on the topic, by the way, before you do that, because CMAT doesn't really cover that topic at all. So you might want to get some information about that one. So the whole point, though, is you need to find every excuse you can to get onto your client bank like a rash. You need to be on them. You need to be talking to them on a regular basis, an MOT of some description. During the autumn, I would suggest you do this while people are worried about things. Make a diary note, contact people, write to them if you want to, send them letters, email them, phone them, whatever is your way of doing it. But you're not selling them anything, you're just helping them. So that's strategy number one. So that's been pretty useful. Strategy number two, so let's put it over here, shall we? Keep this nice and tidy. Strategy number two for you is to reduce your own costs. There you go. Reduce your own costs. Now, everybody in business and consumers as well, when there's a downturn, when there's negativity and confidence falls, everybody thinks about reducing their costs. And yeah, you should do that. You've probably done it on a personal basis. You've probably looked at your direct debits and you've probably cancelled a few things you don't use much, etc., etc. I'm not going to go there with that because you're quite capable of doing that. I'm talking about your business now, your mortgage broking business. There's a few things you might want to consider doing. First of all, you might want to do a little bit of work on your tech. And it might be counterintuitive, but you might want to look at upgrading your technology, both hardware and software. If you were to do that, there are some ways of saving money. R&D, research and development, is the way forward here, because if you can prove that you're research and developing via tech, then you can get a lot of corporation tax saved as well. Talk to your accountant about it, of course, but that's something to think about. So spending more on tech might actually save you money in taxes and things like that. But also it prepares you for when we have the upturn, which we will do, because downturns go with upturns. They have done for years, always will do. And you need to be able to get that market share back again, because you've kept your market share through client acquisition. So tech's one thing to think about seriously if you want to go that way. Have a look at the government's help to grow. Yeah. On the subject of tech as well. Help to Grow is a government scheme where they give you 50% discounts on stuff. There's training and things, but there's also software. So you can upgrade some of your software that might be a bit creaking at the seams. So that's something that will save you money as well, because they give you 50% discount. So that's a good thing as well, isn't it? On the cost side of things, as a business owner, you really do want to take a decision now about ongoing costs. And what I would recommend you seriously think about is you go online. Now, you might have thought about it, you might have juggled with the idea, preferring to keep your offices, etc., for brand image and all that kind of stuff. And I get all that. But going online is cheaper for you. The costs are far, far lower than having an office in town. Now, you'll probably push back and say you're not going to get your clients don't want to do this, and I get all that as well. But you should make it your default way of doing business. Don't ask clients, which would you prefer? Do you want a video? You don't want video, do you? Or do you want a nice office? Of course, they're going to go to the office. It's your bias at place there, isn't it? Make it your default way of operating. It's how you work. As a video-based, I don't do phone. Don't go to phone. That's great. It works. But if you're going to do this properly, go to video. And that way, of course, you'll future-proof your business, particularly when we get into virtual reality, all that kind of stuff, when that comes about. Now, going online, of course, reduces your costs dramatically, but it also reduces your footprint, your carbon. Don't forget about that. You've got to think about that. They reckon, a lot of people reckon that a good downturn will do two things. It will contain inflation, which it will do, but it'll also get us back to speed on reducing our carbon footprint, because we're trying to subsidize people's fuel bills so that they spend as much money on fuel. We need to reduce fuel consumption. So, of course, the online model is great for your carbon footprint. Do it. It's the right thing to do. It ticks all the right boxes, not only for the environment, but also for a lot of your younger generation clients who will expect you to do that. Start looking at your CPD and do it online now. Don't jump in the car and head off to some hotel because it's been sponsored by lenders and providers. Some glamorous hotel in the countryside, where you go in there and you've got the foyer, all the trestle tables, all the goodies, and you waltz into the presentation room and you get providers giving you presentations on stuff. The panel appears, with 4 or 5 industry experts. I get all that. You do that. You don't have to jump in the car and do that. You can do these things online, and you should be. And that will cut your costs dramatically as well. Nothing wrong with that at all. The other thing I was thinking about is they're pushing solar again as well. See if you can if you're going to be online and based at home or whatever, see if you can put some solar panels on your roof, because if energy costs ain't coming down quickly, it might be the time for you to go solar. But that's just a small thing you might want to think about, reducing your own costs. But don't be silly with reducing your own costs. Don't reduce your costs to reduce your business. That would not be a good use of your time, but you do need to think about reducing your costs. That's strategy number 2. Okay, now on the other hand, of course, of reducing your costs, my next recommendation for you is to revise your charging. So let's put that one over here, shall we? Revise your charging structure. Obviously, if you can reduce costs and do something about your charges, your fees, then you will survive the downturn. This makes absolute sense, doesn't it? How do you do that? Well, first of all, you might want to continue to look at the way you charge your clients. And a lot of brokers now are looking at the retainer model. Now, I use a retainer model for some of my clients. This means that you charge a monthly subscription, or whatever that looks like, and therefore the client can retain your services as and when they need it, subject to limitations, of course. So you might charge them a monthly subscription, and they might be able to use you for a mortgage, for anything. So buy-to-lets, it works well. Landlords, it works particularly well. If you've got a landlord or somebody with a lot of property, they might come to you on a regularish basis. And you might just feed off broker commissions and prop fees. Obviously, you can get prop fees, but charging broker fees. But if you charge a subscription a month, it means that they can come to you anytime. Amazon Prime is the best example. You may have it, probably have, millions do. We pay monthly to Amazon for the privilege of buying products from them. Odd that, isn't it? Okay, we get free postage and all that kind of stuff, free delivery. But we actually become more loyal to Amazon because we pay them money every month. We actually buy all our stuff from them, and it's been proven that it's worked dramatically for Amazon to increase their profits. You should do the same. Charge a retainer a monthly subscription, and they can use you for any business they want moving forward. It might not be what you are used to, and other brokers might push back. I'm free. I don't charge. Come to me. I get all that, and I see that, but it's not. It doesn't have a sustainable business. It's not a good business model. It's not, guys. You're professional. You should charge for yourself. If you can't charge for yourself, you're not really a professional, are you? You're just an order taker. People will push back on me on that one, but it's absolutely true. Have a look at your broker fees. Look at your fee schedule, maybe. You're probably charging too little. There will be a few brokers who'll go out of business in the downturn, ones that haven't quite made it. So there's less brokers to use, particularly if you're very good at what you do. Maybe you're in a specialist marketplace, etc. Then you need to be able to look at your broker fees, at least maintain them, but don't reduce them. Don't go driving down to the bottom. People do that in recessions. Lidl and Aldi can do that. Pound shops can do that. Martin Lewis can get his little money show going, showing you how to save money. But we don't do that. We're professional. And the last one, of course, is take a look at your commissions. What do you do that buys you a commission or gets you a commission? So make sure you're selling protection, of course. That's a key one, because people are keen to look at their protection areas in a downturn, and looking to maximize your commissions. Buildings insurance you might not have bothered with during the good times. You need to bother with that now. Any other kind of general insurance that you wish to, wills, powers of attorney, that kind of stuff, you need to be thinking about seriously as well. So there's other ways of generating an income. So that's strategy number 3. I hope that was been useful for you. Let's now get into my last strategy for you today, and that is to ramp up your prospecting. There we are. Let's put it down here, shall we? Ramp up your prospecting. Now, prospecting is an old phrase. We've used it for years in financial services. What it means is a series of events that you do to generate new business. You prospect, a bit like the old gold mine, prospecting for gold. But it's a long-winded process that you use to get new clients. Now, you may not have bothered with that in the good times, but you do need to bother about it now. The sales process or the prospecting process is so much longer during downturn. People don't make immediate decisions. They'll think about it a lot more. So you do really need to have a good handle on this to make it work for you. So first of all, you need to manage it properly. You need a proper system, process, structure to be able to prospect for new business, spending a day a week on this valuable process, because not only are you looking after your existing clients, you need to get new clients in during a downturn. So the first thing you want to be getting onto is referrals. We've talked about this many times, but you need a proper referral management system. Not just asking people for referrals, that's not a proper system, but proper referral management system. You need to manage the process of getting referrals from obviously new clients that you're dealing with. You need to obtain referrals, but you also need to go to your existing clients, contact them all and say you're growing your business and you're looking for their assistance to grow your business, to help more of their friends and colleagues in the market that you're involved in. And they will be happy to pass people over to you. You don't have to do the Marks and Spencer's voucher unless you want to, but that's a referral management system that you'll be wanting to look at. Other ways in which you can learn to prospect and prospect really well. Take a look at online seminars. This is your chance now to really go to this method. Now, an online seminar is a presentation done online where you give key information about your business expertise to potential customers or prospects. You can get these via LinkedIn. There's all sorts of ways of getting them, but you actually deliver an online webinar to a select bunch of people, talking to them about your expertise. Definitely something to think about. You might have a bit more time to do that now. Make sure you can do it well. Estate agents. Estate agents is one to look at. Now, many of you, of course, have gone to estate agents over the last few years to help them to finance mortgages for people who are buying and selling properties through the agency, and that you might want to continue doing. But in a housing downturn, if the people buying and selling houses starts to drop, which may well do, then estate agents won't be very busy, and they will start to feel the pinch, because they do. They need transactions, you see, to make money. You don't necessarily need housing transactions, because other ways you can make money, like remortgaging and stuff like that. But what estate agents don't do very well, there are exceptions, is they don't harvest their client bank. They don't look after their client bank. Now, way back in 1988, when I was in my embryo of my career, I moved from the sanctity of a building society to an estate agency as a financial advisor. That was my job. And as I joined, the tax relief bubble just burst and the housing market went right downhill, and we weren't doing any transactions. So I was scratching my head trying to think about how I could do some business. My mentor at the time said to me, "Look, Paul, upstairs of the estate agency office, I bet you there's filing cabinets of people who've bought and sold properties, details, data." This was before computers had data. Filing cabinets of files. So I went upstairs one afternoon. Sure enough, there was these old Bisley filing cabinets, and inside each filing cabinet were files with the vendor's name and the property address, and you had all the correspondence that we used to. This is pre-computers. You see, there was thousands of people that had bought property through the agency over the last 5-10 years, and thousands of people that sold property, bought property. And all I spent that autumn was phoning these people, offering them a review. I did the old client bank MOT, a review of their finances and mortgages, and I made loads of business from it. Now, that particular story is what you could do for estate agents. You don't have to go in there and tell them, well, I'll help you with new mortgages. Tell them you'll just harvest their client back and give them a 50% split of everything you do. That's one way of making some really good money. Other things you can do, take a look at social. Make sure you're using Google's, let's put that up for Google My Business, it's called. It's where they use Google Maps, where you put your address, and Google My Business get a little mini web page for free via Google. You actually get quite a lot of referrals that way as well. Make sure your social presence is good. I'm not talking about being on all these forums. which are a complete waste of time. I've been on a few there, and a couple of people, customers, the public, say, "Look, I need somebody to help me with this mortgage." Really difficult to place cases, and of course everybody's on there trying to help. Now, don't do that. Just get your social presence right, get your LinkedIn profile right, your Facebook business page. Have a look at TikTok, maybe, if that's where your clients are. Obviously Instagram, a place like that as well. Doesn't cost you money. It's free. It's not difficult to do. You can hire somebody to do it if you wanted to. Make sure your social presence is good as well. Be careful of PPC, or pay-per-click. A lot of people are saying, spend money now on pay-per-click. It's the way of getting out. That's actually quite bad, because it's the big boys that have got the budget for pay-per-click advertising on Google. The big brokers are feeling the pinch just as much as you are, but they've got marketing budgets, and they'll start dominating the pay-per-clicks. So it's not actually the one thing you possibly need to be doing as a mortgage broker. Referrals are the best thing to do, of course they are, and various other methods I've given you there as well. Few ideas. I'd definitely look at the online seminars there. Learn how to do those properly, where you give generic information, generic solutions, and then you promise a one-to-one with anybody that wants a tailored, personalized service, and that's when you can start charging as well. So there's 4 for you. Next week we're going to take a look at 4 more for you. We'll take a look at your inner game, how you handle your mental capacity during a downturn, because that's a big thing to cope with as well. Then how do you manage your pipeline? Looking at CRM systems as well. How do you manage your business pipeline? Because the sales cycle is so much longer now, between people being interested and people doing some business with you as well. Your self-development and CPD. And then I want to look at some diversification methods, how you can diversify your business to get some income coming in during this difficult period. So there's the first 4 for you. Hope that's been useful. Brilliant. Okie dokie. So yeah, nice one. These things work, by the way. Downturns do occur. You do have to handle them. They're nothing to worry about. It's a normal business cycle. Don't get stressed or anxious about them, because they happen. We probably do need one. We need to clear inflation, definitely, because that's a little bit out of control. Well, a lot of that in this country is down to fuel and gas prices, but it's now burnt into the economy with pay rises and food and stuff's all going up, isn't it? Which is not good. Even the price of milk's going up. We don't import milk. We make the stuff here, so you can't blame that on supply shocks. Although it's the distribution costs and the fuel costs that cause that to go up. So they're there for a reason, recessions. They also clear out the dead wood, and there's nothing wrong with that. They make sure that you operate your business correctly as well. So I'll keep you posted on how to handle these things as we move forward. Other than that, I hope you have a good rest of the week. We're pretty busy this week here at Tivoli Studios. We're helping some BDMs this week to become better at BDMing. In other words, how they handle you, how they talk to mortgage brokers. So we're doing some sales training with those guys this week online. So that's all good news as well. And we're doing some more work next week as well. New boot camp starting in September. Our last cohort coming in September as well. We've also got the new equity release book, which is selling quite well at the moment. People are buying that and getting some good value, which is good news all around. Other than that, have a great week, everybody, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.